Jennifer. She's a civil engineer with WSP. She's done extensive 3D roadway models in New Jersey, New York, and Pennsylvania. I like the last piece of your bio, if I can read that. So she's a graduate of Carnegie Mellon University and became a Steelers fan, and she also puts French fries on her sandwiches. So that was an important bit for you guys to know about Jennifer before she starts her presentation.
Thank you. Good morning, my name is Jennifer Steen, and I'm from WSP, formerly known as Parsons Brinkerhoff, and I'm a civil engineer, and I do a lot of roadway and design visualizations. So who here has ever talked to a colleague about 3D models? This is an interactive part. You talk to them. You talk to them about how awesome they are, and while it may take some time to develop the models, it's going to help them calculate quantities, cost, and generate those really impressive visualizations that you take to public meetings. There are some really easy programs that you can use to develop these models, you tell them. No, I don't really want to learn a new program. I'm perfectly happy using this old version that isn't supported anymore, and I really like these 2D plans. You know, even though you keep going through and explaining all those benefits, opportunities, and the ease of use, there's still this fear of change, of going to 3D models. The world is on this fast-paced change, though. They keep going. They're using 3D models in gaming and entertainment, and it's been used in highway construction for decades with BIM models and SIM. Yet these 3D models aren't part of our daily workflow. And so how do we get from the way we used to do everything, going from 2D plans, and getting everybody to start doing these 3D models as a natural state that we keep going through? So instead of sitting here and asking, why should I use 3D models, we should be getting everybody to ask, why aren't we using 3D models? So today I'm going to talk about changing those current mindsets and trying to incorporate 3D models throughout the design by supplementing or helping our workflows with software that could be easy to use, but that gives numerous benefits to a project that can be carried from cradle to grave. Now, some of the benefits of 3D models throughout the life cycle of a project, it includes improved efficiency and communication. You can develop that problem-solving environment with that creativity. Everybody can start talking and actually coming up with ideas instead of just fighting over lines on plans. You can save time, you can detect those clashes and issues, and you can actually create these comprehensive designs. Now, the software capabilities today, there's numerous programs out there that you can use interactively and together to create these 3D models. But what we need to do is to find ways to impact our design workflows without causing a disruption to our employees and colleagues, but that also allow the development of the design, development of staff through training, and also giving that stakeholder satisfaction. So why not 3D models? There are numerous opportunities within technology and culturally today with 3D models. So with technology, you have a lot of new software programs. You have ConceptStation and LumenRT, which is one of the pictures that I've created from. You have InfraWorks, AutoCAD, InRoads, Revit. You have numerous bridge modeling, and site modeling programs that you can use. They range from different levels of training to levels of effort, and the opportunities, like what I said before, you can produce these 3D renderings at the different stages of the project. Now, culturally, the opportunities that are out there, we have the gaming industry, entertainment. The kids today have iPads in the classroom in kindergarten. My child, who is 3, watches Bob the Builder, who has a mobile device that has 3D models, and he tells his little trucks to go build everything based off these models. This is what my kid sees every day, and he expects that. So, with the changing workforce, everybody's coming in that enterprise, they're excited and they're inspired. This is what they expect. They expect to have 3D models. They expect to be trained in them and have that training right away. They're passionate, they have this desire, and they want to just go and get everything. So why not take all that desire and expectations and what they're good at, because they've been doing the gaming, they've been looking at 3D models, and pulling that into that workflow right when they get in the first day that they start out of college. So why not 3D models? So this is the current workflow that we have, and how can we change our workflow to incorporate 3D models? Because you can't just change everything all at once, because people don't like change. You're going to scare them. So how can we add little pieces here or there and start getting them to think about it at least, and trying to incorporate that into the design workflow? So today, we have our concept, which you might have a 2D sketch. You just draw it on a piece of paper, like, this is going to be great. Don't worry, we'll think of everything in preliminary design. Then you get to preliminary design, and do you have plans? Oh, that issue, don't worry about it. We'll figure that out in final design. It'll be okay. Then they get to final design. They have a 3D model of some sort. They've used it to cut some cross sections and do some calculations, but they still give a 2D plan set to the contractor. And the contractor sits there and will take the time during that bid time, 2 to 3 weeks, and spend all of that time creating a model that they can use to actually give a good bid. And then in construction, they're actually rebuilding and doing it all again and creating that model for their AMG machines and everything else. But ways that we can change the current workflow is to actually create 3D concepts and concept design in that feasibility study. Start there, because then what you need to also be able to do is have that software be able to port everything and not lose that data in between when you go to preliminary design. You should have a 3D model there. It might not be final, but you should be able to have something that you can talk about with people. So now you can have that 3D model earlier in the design phase. Then in the final design phase, you're finalizing that. You're talking to the contractor. You're actually giving them something that they can actually use right away during the bid phase, but then not take that time at the bid phase to redo everything. They're actually able to come up with creative solutions. Oh, well, my thing over here, it works really well. I did this on another project. Let's incorporate that into the model. And now you've saved time, you've created a better solution and a project that might actually be built correctly. And you have a happy contractor, and everybody's happy. So why not change the workflows and have 3D models starting in the beginning of your workflow? So I don't know if you've ever seen this. This is just showing how much you can influence the cost over the design life of a project. You have a really high influence of cost during the concept phase, while in construction, if you change anything, as everybody knows, it doesn't end well for anybody involved. So the key here is to concentrate on what can we do during the concept phase to help us make these influential changes and impact the overall project. So one way to do that is by using ConceptStation and LumenRT. And the reason why I'm going to talk about this is what I use in my daily workflow, and I've been trying to incorporate this into whatever projects I can and talk to people about that. Trying to tell my friends at work, come on guys, let's use this program. And slowly I will drag them to the new generation. So if you've never heard of ConceptStation, it's a Bentley product that you can just start drawing roads and bridges, and you can play around in a 3D rastered and rendered environment right away, creating those vertical alignments, moving them up and down, and you can now place, if the newest version just came out, roundabouts, ramps, the bridge and the bridge ramps that go up to it, there's tunnels and culverts in there, and you can play around. It's very easy. You get it on your computer and you can get trained in 15 minutes. Why not be using these programs? Because then what you can do is you can, within ConceptStation, you have LumenRT, which, has anybody seen the movie with the blue guys, the Avatar movie? Not the other one, not the bad one, the one blue one. Well, LumenRT is what they used there with all the trees and everything to get those rendered images. So Bentley has this product that now you can use right out of the box with ConceptStation. You just press a button and it comes over here, and now you can put the trees that move. You can make these visualizations that are great for design discussions. And you're doing that in the beginning. You're saving time. You're not taking a lot of time to do all of this. And it just works by helping everybody talk about the design and moving everything. So why not use these? And another great thing about ConceptStation is that it takes, you can export your alignments and go to VIZ17. You can bring in your VIZ17 models and have the traffic flowing through there. And then you can export everything at the end, which is the most important part, to open roads and inroads. So you're carrying your design forward into the next product and moving on through the design, and you're not starting all over again in preliminary or final. So I wanted to just give 2 examples of things that have happened to me by using ConceptStation and how that's affected the workflow and brings up a lot of points that we have to keep in mind when creating 3D models early on. So the first one I want to talk about is changing the purpose of the 3D model. And this can go for any product. I started out a project, and the manager came to me and said, I want to use ConceptStation. I want this product to look like this. Okay, that's great. We're gonna do that. So I build everything out. We put the cars in. We put the trees and everything. And he comes back and looks at it. And he's like, no, I think the client changed his mind, and he wants to show it now to government officials. Well, that just changed the whole purpose of the model. It wasn't just going to a designer and just talking about it in a meeting in front of a couple people. Now it's going to someone else. And that change made us decide to use a different program. So sometimes by not going up front and deciding on what your purpose of the model is going to be, it's going to give you some runarounds at the end if you have to change and start all over again in another product. But one good thing that came out of the story is that when I started designing the roadway off of a couple 2D plans that the civil guys had made, they hadn't taken into account any walls. So when I was making my templates right away, because that's the first thing you do, you create your alignment and you're going to run a template through. I had to place walls in there. And when I did that, they started running into the ramps. And I was able to sit there and show them in a 3D model and say, this isn't going to work out. You guys need to start designing about the walls and start thinking about this other piece of the puzzle now. And they were like, okay, well, how do we create the solution? And they were able to work right then and change something and move ahead without taking their 2D design 2 weeks down the road and then wondering, oh, those walls, maybe we should talk to the structure guys about that. So those were a couple good things. Even though the purpose of the model changed, we were still able to use that model to create something. Another example of using ConceptStation was to actually incorporate it into the workflow. I was working on a proposal, and we were discussing different issues. They wanted to build a road and then a bridge over it. And as I did that, we were looking at the vertical alignment. So when you're using ConceptStation, they use the AASHTO standards. So when I was putting in the speed of the road, you come down at a certain, your vertical curve, and it wasn't going to fit. All of a sudden, there was an issue with access, which you would have never seen if you would have drawn it in 2D. You would have never known this until later on in the design. So right then, we were able to come up with a solution and then go through the rest of the design and come up with various access issues. Oh, we can't put a U-turn. Maybe we have to make an intersection. So just by being able to talk about something for an hour, we were able to come up with a whole bunch of solutions that we could put into a proposal to actually win the work. So why not use 3D models in your workflow, even if it's there just to have discussions? So the whole reason why you're sitting here, I'm here to challenge you, to challenge that why. When people ask why models, why not models? What can you do? And I think we're preaching to the choir, but we always want to talk, we're always talking about how the new technologies, we want to be in the forefront of everything. How can we inspire our colleagues and other people within our organization? We need to keep researching and finding out about the different technologies and software. Not one software program is good for every solution. Being able to have someone come to you as an expert and ask, I want to do this. Oh, okay. Let's go A, B, and C. But if you want to do this, maybe we go X, Y, and Z. And so you can help them find their way, creating that execution plan in the beginning, or just helping them realize what the different program capabilities and limitations are. We're always looking to improve our workflow and throughout the project. So maybe just try some of the products out there and creating these 3D models and just start talking about them and helping other people in your organization to start asking, why not? Thank you.